Scott from Scott Shot Media. Today is Thursday, January 14th, and this is what is happening on the mountain. Just a quick update. There are 5 daytime CalTrans projects affecting your commute today. One additional overnight project that might have you detoured on the bottom of the 330. That's that ongoing project. But stick around and we'll tell you where those daytime projects are going on today. We have a red flag warning in effect in the region through tomorrow evening, late afternoon, early evening. It may not affect the mountaintop. This weather event may not affect the mountaintop as much as it is going to affect the canyons and the passes in the valley below today. But we're expecting a fairly strong event down below. But up here on the mountain, we are at a low fire risk for the next 7 days for both new fire starts as well as fire spread. There were 4 crimes reported on the mountain in the past 48 hours. Currently, Southern California Edison is reporting 3 maintenance outages affecting about 41 customers. So far, they have not issued any public safety power shutoffs on the mountain. There is an event forecasted for early next week, which actually might affect the mountaintop more severely. And so we're likely to see those public safety shutoffs in effect because a lot of our snow, especially below 6,000 feet, has melted. And our fuel moisture content is still relatively low despite a couple of snowstorms. Lastly, 41 new COVID cases reported yesterday. I didn't get the updates yet today from the county. So 41 new cases on the mountaintop, around 300 active cases, people currently infectious on the mountain, and that death that we reported last weekend in Lake Arrowhead is the most recent COVID-related death. So that is what's going on the mountain in a brief moment. If you have a few more minutes to stick around, we'll go into greater detail, starting with our traffic. Traffic looks great today for Thursday. Mid-morning commute. Not a lot of CHP incidents going on, no accidents, anything like that, but we do have a handful of CalTrans projects affecting your commute. Almost every mountain road has something going on. State Route 138 in the Crest Line area between Waters and Balsam Lane, you have some utility work going on today. State Route 18 in a couple of places over on the west side near Lake Arrowhead 173, and then in Big Bear closer to the dam, between Low and Cove is some utility work going on. State Route 38, ongoing emergency work and crack seal operation between Old Mill and Jenks Lake. State Route 189, core drilling and utility work between Lake Gregory Drive and Balsam Lane, and then that overnight ongoing long-term project at the bottom of the 330 transitioning to the 210. Weather, we are currently under, this afternoon, we will be entering into a red flag warning. Most of this is going to be in our valleys below our canyons and passes. We shouldn't really see too much strong wind on the mountaintop itself today, but that might change next week with another Santa Ana wind event. But we'll keep an eye on this and certainly let you know. What our biggest concern is not necessarily a fire on the mountaintop, but a fire starting down below. So we'll keep you updated if anything develops. After this wind event passes tomorrow evening through the weekend, we should have some pretty decent weather, highs in the low 60s, lows in the 30s and 40s across the mountaintop. And then we'll keep you updated with that Santa Ana event early next week. And we are also tracking a potential snowstorm to hit later next week and into the weekend. So again, we will keep you updated as that develops, as it hopefully develops. So you can see in our region, this is Southern California, this is San Diego, Orange, San Bernardino counties. We have a major wind event forecasted today through tomorrow for non-thunderstorm winds and for fire weather. Again, don't expect this on the mountaintop as much, but then next week we have another chance of some fire weather and strong winds, and this may actually affect the mountaintop a little bit more. But winds are kind of hard to forecast more than a few days out, so we will need to revise this forecast over the weekend for you. As you can see, today, tomorrow, and even into Saturday, we have a moderate Santa Ana wind event. This is through the Inland Empire in Orange County, not necessarily on the mountaintop, for not super strong winds, but a combination of winds and humidity and fuel moisture will make this wind event a moderate one down in the valleys, in the canyons, and the passes. So that is what you're seeing here. Now look at this: Monday afternoon, overnight, Monday night, all day Tuesday, and then decreasing Wednesday morning. This is actually for the mountaintop. So we have a much more significant wind event forecasted for right now. Again, we've seen these disappear as we get closer. We've seen them strengthen, but right now they're forecasting wind gusts about 45 miles an hour on the mountaintop early next week. And then later in the week, this is some wind associated with a cold front that is pushing into the region and giving us our first chance of snow for the month of January. We have no fires burning on the mountain right now, just a false alarm yesterday. Interestingly enough, I came up the 18 yesterday, and there was a burnt out truck over here in the Narrows, and I didn't see it get dispatched, and I never saw it on any kind of map. So if you saw some smoke and flames yesterday in the area on the 18, that's what was going on. So I apologize that we didn't report on it. Not quite sure. It might have been dispatched in the city, even though it was way up here on the mountaintop. So maybe you got that from some of the other Facebook pages and other news sources. So hopefully somebody else picked up on it. But right now, we are looking good from fires and emergencies on the mountaintop. We are still at a low fire risk, even with the wind events on the mountaintop for the next 7 days. We are still at a low risk for new fires start, new fire spread. The Forest Service still has us under a very high fire danger today because of the lack of moisture that we've had this season so far. And as far as long range forecasting goes, we're still at about average for fires in the Southern California region. We're not expecting to see any widespread long-term fire danger for the next few months. We had 4 crimes reported on the mountain in the past couple of days. Over here in the Running Springs area, it's kind of hiding behind my logo or behind this lower thirds here. We had a couple of other incidents, a DUI, disturbing the peace, and a negligent discharge of a firearm. So if you saw some police activity over the last couple of days in your neighborhood, I'll post this on Facebook so you can see what was going on. We have a few Edison outages reported. These are all scheduled maintenance outages, 2 in Lake Arrowhead, 1 in Sky Forest, affecting about 41 customers or so until between 2 and 4:15 this afternoon. Edison has not issued any public safety power shutoffs on the mountaintop yet. This will likely change if the second wind event continues to develop early next week on Tuesday. As we discussed, we would not be surprised to see some of these notifications go out across the mountaintop for just for the damaging winds and the potential that it could start a fire. Lastly, COVID-19 update. We had 41 new cases reported on the mountain yesterday. I don't have today's numbers yet. They may have released them since I started recording this, but before I started recording, there was no new updates. So we are at a little over 2,000 cases reported mountain-wide since this event, since this pandemic started. Most of the mountain remains under widespread risk, with the exceptions of Cedar Glen and Arrowbear, which are under minimum risk. This is the state's 4-tier risk matrix system, minimum being the best, widespread being the worst, and there's 2 in the middle that we seem to skip. But this is a 7-day average trailing 7 days. So these are numbers that are from 8 to 14 days ago. So they don't change very often, just once a week. Regionally, on the mountain, we break it up in half. We have the Bear Valley and the Rim communities. Bear Valley is under widespread on the average. Rim communities under a widespread on the average. You can see that somewhere around the 4% mark is where the total cases on the mountain since we started the pandemic, 4% of the population is tested positive. Using the state's 4-tier system, our daily numbers, we had 41 new cases, so that's an 82 out of 100,000. That's how we can compare ourselves to the rest of the county and the rest of the state and country. So we're at an 82.0, which is widespread, but that's a lot better than the rest of the county and a little bit better than the rest of the state and not as good as the rest of the country. So you can see we have some work to do. Hopefully we'll see these numbers go down with vaccinations, but we still have to keep our protocols in place and do our due diligence. So that's all I have for you guys today. Feel free to email me or text me if you have any questions or comments. Like us on Facebook, especially what is happening on the mountain if you'd like to get this update daily. And then for late breaking news, you can follow along YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Periscope at Scott Shot Media. You have a wonderful day.